Foster English. Today we're going to be talking about verbs. Now the symbol or the shape that we use to represent verbs in Foster English is the circle. We use the circle because verbs tell time. The word we use for time when it comes to grammar is tense. And there are actually 12 different verb tenses in the English language. And so that symbol of the circle, I want you to think about as being an old-fashioned analog clock, a clock on the wall. I don't have a clock on my wall. But if I did, it would be a nice big circle and it would have the numbers 1 through 12 all the way around. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving you videos on each of the 12 tenses. But here's a little bit of a starter for you. Verbs are probably, next to nouns, the most important ideas in English. And I say nouns and verbs are equally important because both of them are necessary in sentences, in thoughts. Without nouns, you wouldn't have anyone, anything, or anywhere to talk about. And without verbs, whatever it is you're talking about couldn't do or be anything. And those are really the two generic kinds of verbs in English. You have action type verbs, what we're going to call doing type verbs in English, or being type verbs, or defining type verbs. We're going to sort of simplify these two ideas by calling them doing type verbs and being type verbs. So those are action and defining type verbs, respectively. So we know that time can be organized in sort of three basic ideas. We have the past, we have the present, which is so quickly getting away from us, and we have the future, which we can only imagine until it becomes the present, and then just like that, it's back into the past. All sorts of philosophies and ideas you can explore regarding time, but this is not the place, this is the place for the English language. So, in thinking about how we express time in language, that's all included within our verb tense. And that can be the time being past, present, or future, but it can also be duration of time within either an action or a state of being. So verbs have a lot of work that they do. They don't only give us information about whatever a thing or person or a place is doing or being, but they also tell us when and for how long, which is pretty important information. So we're using the circle to represent that idea. We will, in the future, be looking at the tenses as well as other ways that verbs can give us information, whether they're regular or irregular, or whether they're transitive or intransitive. There's all of these sort of dichotomies or different kinds of verbs that we're going to be talking about to help you better understand English. But as a basic introduction, that's what you need to know. There are two basic kinds of verbs, doing type verbs and being type verbs, and there are big jobs that the verb has within a sentence, and that is to tell that information, what action is taking place or what is being defined or how is something being defined, as well as when and for how long. Stay tuned for more on verbs coming up very soon. Thank you again for your attention and your participation in this channel.